We're back to the Neil Hanlon Show, and I'm so excited to have on the program Celebrity Chef Paula-Deen. Paula, how are you, and how are things?
I'm great, Neil. I'm on the road. I've actually, on my book tour right now. I'm somewhere in Connecticut, and I'm doing great.
Fantastic. I wanted to tell you that my family has been to your restaurant. They love it, and my mother-in-law is a huge fan of yours. Just had to tell you that, and she just loves you,
wonderful.
Loves your cooking, and it's got to be such a special thing when you get recognized everywhere you go, right, Paula? And people just tell about how great of an entertainer you are and a cook. It's got to be fun.
Neil, it's very humbling, and it always seems to take me by surprise. I said, you don't ever know when you're looking down the barrel of that camera what's going on in people's lives. And some days it's just amazing what a smile or a laugh can do in some people's lives. And that's always touched me to the core.
Absolutely, and you're the reason you're touring right now is you have a new book out at the Southern Table.
I do, yes.
150 classic recipes to share with your family and friends. So tell us, because you've written a lot of cookbooks, tell us what makes this different to some of the other ones you've written.
Well, there's 30 brand new recipes in it that have never been in any of my books. And I did a little something different, Neil, on this one. To me, my least favorite part about cooking is planning a menu.
Okay.
I like it when people will come up to me and say, Paula, why don't you cook so-and-so and so-and-so today? And that's great. You burn a lot of energy trying to put together that menu. So I did some menu planning for everybody. And it's like for a backyard cookout or a Sunday breakfast, tailgating, barbecue. It just all different kinds of occasions. And so the menu is planned for you, and you can take it and go with it, or you can mix it and match it. But so I was glad I was able to do that. And I've touched on some tablescapes, how to, I show people how to cut a uncooked corn on the cob and use that as like place name tags. You can just stand the little card up in the rows of corn, and just things like that.
Fabulous, because I love the idea of menu planning, because sometimes you see recipes in cookbooks and you don't know when would be a good time to use this? When is this something
right.
that
what does it go with? Right.
Yes, what to go with, because that's the hardest thing, Paula. My wife's loves cooking, but then she just has to decide. She always wants to make it different and new and exciting, but then sometimes the planning time, is that going to be a weekday meal, or is that going to be a weekend, or is that going to be a party meal? So that's the important thing of that menu planning.
Right. And I like the way your wife thinks. I always tell people when I give them a recipe, the first time you ever make it, go right by the recipe. But then the next time you make it your own. Twist it up and make it yours. But having said that, each recipe has a picture of what the recipe should look like. So I think that's so helpful. Because if yours doesn't look exactly like that, it's okay. But if it looks nothing like that, then maybe you've not done something quite right.
In your years, Paula, of cooking, how much of a better educator have you become from the first time you started to show people how to cook to now? What do you learn differently now that kind of sets you apart from the rest in so many ways because of how you're able to explain things to people? Because, like everybody needs that explanation, needs that breakdown so they feel comfortable doing it, learning by doing and seeing somebody who's a great educator. And that's what it sounds like to me, Paula. You're explaining these things. Sometimes I interview other chefs and I'm like, what are they talking about? So that's a gift you have.
Neil, my very first cookbook that I ever wrote was Favorite Recipes of the Lady and Her Friends. I wrote every word, and I self-published it myself. And I look back and I just laugh because I assume everybody had been in the kitchen alongside of me and knew what I was talking about. Like, cover your rib bones with water. No measurements. And when a big publishing company bought that book, the remake of that book was much harder to write than my version of it, because they said, Paula, you have to assume that the woman that's buying this cookbook has never been in a kitchen in her life. And I know one day, it was when I was in our first location downtown, and the phone rang during lunch hours out on the table. I was out on the floor tending to guests, and this woman called and said, Paula, I'm sorry to bother you. I know you're in your lunch hour there, but I'm trying to make your squash casserole, and I can't get these squash to fit down into my measuring cup. And I just died laughing, just busted out laughing, because I didn't put in the word slice.
Yes.
Slice. So she was trying to measure whole big squash in her cup. And she and I both just wound up having the best laugh. But you have to be explicit. Because I left out the word sliced, she was having a hard time.
Well, you really connect to people, Paula. You're going to be in many different cities. We're nationally syndicated, but our flagship station's in Pittsburgh. You're going to be in Pittsburgh for a book signing pretty soon. What is the date you'll be in Pittsburgh?
I am. Neil, it's going to be December the 1st, and I'm going to be at Barnes & Noble.
Wow. I want to come out and meet you when you're in December 1st in Barnes & Noble, so I'll try to stay in touch with your team and see. I'd love to come out and talk to you for sure. And you're going to be all over the place: San Diego, Branson, Cleveland, Columbus, Dallas,
yes.
Shreveport, New Orleans,
yes.
Morgantown. It's going to be a fun tour, isn't it?
Yeah, it is going to be a fun tour. I always meet some great, interesting people on my book tours. Like I said, I'm sitting somewhere in Connecticut right this moment. So I look forward to the next stop.
All right, Paul, best place we can find information, you call you and stuff like that, and purchase your book. First of all, purchase the book anywhere it's available, but what about for yourself, best place to follow you? Because I know you're really engaged social media-wise.
Yes. What was your question, Neil?
Can follow you on social media. Paula, where's the best place?
Oh, yeah. Yes, they can keep up with me there, because I'm in and out of there.
Excellent.
And I have. Let me tell you this while we're chatting. I have a show on Evine Live every Tuesday night at 6 to 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 to 7 Central. And I'm on for 2 hours on Evine. And Evine is a shop-at-home network where I feature my small appliances. And so I'm there every Tuesday night. And I also have a show that's syndicated called Positively Paula. And you can go to positivelypaula.tv and find out who has it in your area.
Awesome, Paula. Well, good chatting with you. Best of luck, and maybe I'll be stopping by to see you on December 1st. So take care.
Thank you, Neil. I'm going to hold you to that, honey. Come by.
Okay, you hold it. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You too.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. You're listening to the Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment. We're back to the Neil Haley Show on the Total Celebrity segment, and I'm excited about my guest from Fox TV's The MICK, Carla-Jimenez. Carla, thanks for calling. How are you today?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, tell us a little bit about the story of how you got the part on The MICK, because it's such a great show, and you have an exciting role. And tell us that story.
Oh, okay. Like how I auditioned, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, I mean, basically, it was like any other audition. I'm just going for the pilots, for the new shows that are coming out. And I got the script, and, I see the breakdown. It looks very typical, made for this family. It's a comedy. And then I look at the audition sides, and I'm just like, wow, what is this? And by the way, these audition sides were never supposed to make it into the show. The guys, what happened was, if you've seen the pilot of the MICK, I don't do much because they're trying to set up all the characters. So they needed to show range. So what they had done was they took a script and put, my name, my character's name on it, and Caitlin Olsen's character Mickey on it, and it was this dinner scene where she drugs my character and takes her to a club. Auditioned, it was such a crazy audition, and I just remember thinking, this is so wacky and out there that a maid would be doing this, but I just went for it, and they were so responsive, and they were laughing really hard, and then I went back and I read with Caitlin, and, they saw our chemistry from there, and then from there I got the show, and they told me we're going to put this in the second episode. So it went from just being some script they needed to see my range to actually making it into the show.
Wow, so you never knew if you're going to be part of the show or not. It's like part of the acting deal where you go in, you shoot a pilot, you see certain things, say, what's going to happen? And then lo and behold, you have the opportunity. So tell us about your character, and then and then a little bit about the dysfunctional family and what to expect this season.
Sure. Well, my character, her Alba, she works for the family. She's raised the kids, and she's really not meant to be, seen or heard. Just kind of scurries around, does what she does. But once Caitlin Olsen's character, Mickey, comes on the scene, it's like, in a way, she kind of liberates her and says, you're not just here to cook and clean. You should be an equal, and they kind of become friends. And the whole season, that whole first season, it kind of takes off, and Alba, having all these liberties, she kind of experiences being with friends and in a new way, and it kind of derails her a bit because she's doing things she's never done before, and she's kind of becoming a little dysfunctional family with all these other people, with the Pemberton kids and Mickey's on again, off again boyfriend. So we kind of left on a crazy high at the end of season 1 where the youngest kid burns down the mansion. And now, starting tomorrow night, we're going to see the aftermath, which kind of looks exciting. They're in a big hotel, and then it kind of goes, the only way it can go for Mickey, which is sideways. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at this family, and remember when they promoted it first last year, and you were blown away to see, wow, this makes, let's say, Married with Children or something else even consider like just a basic Cosby family. Married with Children, when you see this family. That's how I would describe it, wouldn't you? I mean, seriously, that how unbelievably crazy that family is. And it really highlights Connecticut and some of these families, the direction kids, how they're not being supervised anymore and are on their own in so many ways, and how it's just unbelievably difficult to control them. They're just on their own. And I think that's what this makes this show so special, for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yes, it's showing that and showing how, nobody really, it's funny because they butt heads a lot, and I think a lot of it has to do with because they were left to themselves for so long that they don't really understand how to, the rules and what goes into it. And so she's just trying to maintain some semblance of like family, and they just, everything's kind of butting against each other. But it's really fun. And yeah, like you said, in Married with Children, when it came out, it was pretty edgy for its time, and now it's kind of like, well, maybe not so bad. But we're having fun. I mean, I'm always excited to see the script, see what we're going to do next, and think, oh my gosh, can we do that? And we do.
And I'm sure people on social media want to know what's happening after the mansion burns down. I'm sure the fans isn't that the greatest thing about social media today, Carla, is the fact that you have a situation where a season ends and the conversation continues all the way to the next season. That's different than the days before where you shot it and everyone forgets. They just still ask and have conversations and want to know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because before, like, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, you would have blogs, or you were just, talking around your water cooler. But now with all of this, it just keeps the conversation going, and there's all this guessing and asking and, dreaming about what's going to happen next. And I know that's a big concern for people. They were worried about the house, but, things happen. Well, it's cool. There's a lot of great things happening in season 2, and I think the fans are gonna really like the direction, that it's going. It keeps its DNA. The guys, the Chernin brothers, they promised, that we would keep the DNA of the show. So some things will stay the same, but there's just a little adventure they go on,
Absolutely. So, Carla, where's the best place we can follow you on social media? Do you have places we can follow you and connect with you?
Oh, yeah. On Twitter, I'm at carla-jimenez. And on Instagram, I am at This Is Carla-Jimenez. And I'm on Facebook. I have a fan page on Facebook.
Well, fantastic. Again, MICK on Fox premieres September 26th. At 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, tomorrow night. And thanks again for calling, Carla. Best of luck with the show, and I can't wait to catch up and see more and more about your character and what's going to happen this season. So thanks for calling.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me, and thanks for watching.
Thank you. Take care. Appreciate it. Okay. Bye-bye. You're listening to Neil Haley's show, and we'll be back in just a moment.